Well, good afternoon. Welcome back to my little gardening show. Got 3 of the kids out here with me today, and we're doing a little garden maintenance. We're doing some weed management. So, Child, how are we approaching this?
By killing the weeds.
By disturbing them.
Yes,
disturbing
killing them, cutting them off, disturbing their root zones, whatever we can do, disturbing them pretty much while they're little before they can take.
Before they get big like this.
Yes, before they get big. So, the plan is weed management. You know, you can have a virtually weed-free garden by having like heavy mulches and stuff, but you still have to maintain it. What we're gonna do is each time we're out here, we're gonna try to do 3, 4, 5 beds, whatever we got time to do, and just try to disturb the soil, try to disturb the weeds.
Because weeds have been a really big problem in the past.
Yes, they have been a big problem in the past, and the problem is that we're not out here enough, like in the middle of the summer, to stay on top of it. We're gonna try to change that this year and just do a little bit each time, because we're out here mowing about every week anyway. So if we can just spend a little time with the stirrup hose, scratching the surface around these the planting areas here, we'll be able to keep the weeds at bay. We won't completely eliminate them, but we'll be able to keep them at bay. So I'll zoom in and show you what we're doing here. All right, Child, strike a pose. So she got stirrup hoe here and just kind of going at it. Doesn't take a lot of effort.
What about me?
But you're still learning. You're doing all right though. I'm just glad that you have a tool in your hand.
Oh,
Keep chopping. Do your thing, bud.
You're glad?
I am glad.
It's in my pinky.
All right, keep working. So she's going around, disturbing the soil. That's the key. You gotta get them while they're young, because they'll put down roots pretty quick, and then they'll spread out depending on what the weed is, and then you got problems. Then it becomes really hard to get them out, especially when later in the summer it's drier and it's not as easy. So what we're gonna do again is about 3 or 4 beds a time that we're out here, and that should keep things going, keep it at bay, so they don't completely take over. I'll show you an area where they've kind of taken over, where we're gonna have to work a little bit to get it back. So at the end of the lettuce patch here, we got this kind of it's supposed to be a walkway, but you can see all this crabgrass. And to keep that, we gotta get right at the little root ball there. A lot of times they send out runners. So it's going to take a little bit to get this area back. For now, I've just been mowing it. Another strategy that we're going to try to use, I think, later this summer, is get our cardboard. Need to get some cardboard, lay out, cover a big area where we don't, it's probably walkways. I'll show you. So getting cardboard to cover all this kind of walkway here. Get it in between the tomatoes on the other side, maybe try to fit pieces around, and then go get some wood chips, heavy mulch, something, probably wood chips, probably about 6 inches deep. If we can do that, that will save us a lot of work here, and then it's just maintaining these beds and walkways. There's a real good book by Lee Reich called The Weedless Garden. It basically covers these principles for like the smaller gardens, like a backyard garden, stuff like that. And a lot of it's just using cover mulch, trying not to disturb the soil, using no-till methods and stuff like that. All right, kids, you ready to go?
Yep.
I didn't hear you. Are you guys ready to go?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, good morning, welcome back to my little gardening show. Today I wanted to show you one other tool in our arsenal for weeding that we've got, and that is the Haas wheel hoe. Now, the purpose is, I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this, how we're going to use it this season. The Haas wheel hoe, it's a really good tool, especially if your garden's already cultivated, your soil is already more or less worked. For breaking new ground, you really need a tiller. This is more of a maintenance tool. So let me show you. I have my son here and take the camera. Now the beauty of this steer hoe is it allows material to pass through and basically just scalps it. Cuts just a little bit underneath the top of the soil to scalp the plant away from its roots. And it gets enough of it that usually they can't grow back. Some of the perennial weeds, a little more difficult. You guys just can continue to repeatedly stay on top of them, and eventually they'll either go completely dormant or die because they just aren't able to get the nutrients they need. It works out really well. So let's zoom in on here. This thing, I got the double wheel hoe a few years back. They've got a new version that's like a high arch wheel hoe, but there's all kinds of implements you put on here. So what we got on here is a steer hoe. It's razor sharp. There's a couple different sizes, but what we're going to do now is try to get through this crabgrass. You can see I already made a little line. So here we go. Just going to chip at it. It's a good time to do this because the ground is wet.
No.
Alright, let's try to get rid of them, okay?
Potato beetles.
So you can see here, it's cutting through the crabgrass pretty good. I'm not exerting a ton of effort. I'm just kind of chipping away at it. Now look over here, bud. You're walking in it.
It's all dead.
So we were able to chip through about a 6-inch swath. You're stepping on again, you're just packing it back in. A 6-inch swath. And the idea is we broke these loose, disturbed the root zone, and we keep doing this and it's eventually going to eliminate it. Now what we could do is pull out the tops so there's less likelihood that they'll grow back, because a lot of these have root systems where they send out runners and stuff like that, but we get rid of the heads, clean this up, and just stay on top of it. We'll be able to get through it real good. But that thing cuts through, just takes a little time to get it back, but we should be able to get it done with the Haas double wheel hoe here.
Wait, where would I? So right there?
It's recording. All right, so here, this row here, we've got just some weeds growing. This has already been cultivated. I'm just going to take it down. Let's flip it around. Come down the other side. Now again, it cut through it like butter. Really easy. The goal is to disturb the roots, expose it to the sun. You know, it's going to be clear. The sun's going to be beating down on that all day, so a lot of these will just shrivel up and die. We do that repeatedly. We'll be able to keep the rows clean. You know, just again, it's all about maintenance. It's all about just consistency and just getting out here regularly. You know, you don't have to do it all at one time, but staying on top of it, and the garden will stay relatively weed-free this season. All right, so we're done for the morning.
Yes, Daddy, yes.
I know, honey. Yeah, you can go on up to the car. Anyway, we covered quite a bit of area. It took me a little over an hour to weed the entire garden for the most part, with the exception of the onions. Those were already done. The Haas wheel hoe made relatively easy work of it. You know, I had to chip at it a little bit because some of the weeds were pretty established, but we got everything cultivated, disturbed. With the sun beating down on it, it should dry out a lot of those weeds. There's some that will hang on and take root again. We'll just have to go through again. And again, it's just going to be regular maintenance coming out here with that thing. One thing that's nice about the Haas is that you can, you're not having to stoop over. It's not as much of a strain on the back as opposed to like a regular stirrup hoe, though that's not too difficult either. But with a Hoss, you can get all of your body weight behind it, because you got both hands on the plow and able to kind of push through and get more leverage as you're going through and weeding and cultivating. Again, if we were doing more of a traditional like wholesale tilling, it would have taken probably a lot less time to cultivate everything, because the ground would be so much more looser and it would have just glided through and cut everything away. Whereas here I had to kind of chip through everything. Still pretty easy. Definitely a good tool to have for a garden, especially something like this size. You know, a little, I guess altogether we ended up planting the rest of it. So it's close to being a 50 by 100 again, but only about 70, well, only about 75 foot of that or so, 50 foot of that. I think it's about 50 foot of that is fenced in square. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and take off and then just stay up with things. I guess that's it for now. Until next time, happy gardening. Bye.
Before you came round, my heart would never beat much faster. Before you came round, I was ready to slow down.